Imagine standing alone in one of the harshest deserts on Earth. The wind suddenly shifts. A deep, haunting hum rises beneath your feet. At first, it sounds like distant chanting. Then the sand itself begins to sing. There are no people, no animals, no villages for hundreds of miles. Just an eerie melody drifting across endless golden dunes. For centuries, travelers crossing the Gobi Desert claimed they heard mysterious whispers carried by the wind. Some believed they were hearing the voices of lost soldiers. Others swore the desert itself was warning them to turn back. Many followed the sounds, only to disappear forever. But were these whispers simply legends? Or did the Gobi hide a natural phenomenon so strange that it became one of history's greatest mysteries? This is the story of the whispering sands of the Gobi, and the sonic trap of an ancient empire. Thousands of years ago, the Gobi Desert was far more than an empty wasteland. Stretching across modern-day Mongolia and northern China, it formed one of the greatest natural barriers on Earth. Anyone traveling between east and west had to cross its unforgiving landscape. The Silk Road, the world's most famous trade network, passed along its edges. Every caravan carried silk, spices, jade, gold, precious stones, and ideas that would shape civilizations. Whoever controlled these routes controlled enormous wealth. Yet the greatest danger wasn't always thirst or hunger. It was the desert itself. Ancient Chinese writings describe strange sounds echoing across the dunes. Travelers reported hearing drums in the distance. Others heard flutes, bells, or voices speaking words they could never understand. Some claimed entire conversations floated through the wind. Experienced guides warned newcomers never to follow the sounds. Those who did often lost their direction. In a landscape where every dune looked identical, even a small mistake could become fatal. One wrong turn could leave a traveler wandering for days without water. As these mysterious stories spread, the Whispering Sands became one of the Gobi's greatest legends. Around 2,000 years ago, the mighty Han Dynasty expanded its influence across northern China. The empire understood that controlling the desert meant controlling trade itself. To protect the Silk Road, they built watchtowers, military forts, and defensive walls along important routes. Signal fires could warn soldiers of approaching enemies across enormous distances. The Gobi became both a shield and a battlefield. Foreign armies unfamiliar with the landscape faced countless dangers. Sandstorms appeared without warning. Water was scarce. Temperatures changed dramatically between day and night. Then came the sounds. Imagine marching through endless dunes after several exhausting days. Your water is running low. Your soldiers are tired. Suddenly, a deep vibration rolls across the desert. Some hear voices. Others hear distant drums. Some believe another army is approaching. Fear spreads quickly. Without understanding the source of these sounds, confusion can destroy discipline. A frightened army is easier to defeat than a confident one. Although no historical document proves that the Han Dynasty deliberately used these mysterious sounds as a military weapon, experienced desert guides certainly understood the environment better than invading forces. Knowledge of the land itself became one of their greatest advantages. Today, science offers an explanation for these ghostly whispers. The phenomenon is known as singing sand. Under very specific conditions, millions of perfectly dry sand grains slide down steep dunes together. As they move, the grains rub against one another in perfect synchronization, creating powerful vibrations. Instead of producing random noise, the moving sand generates a deep, steady tone. Some dunes produce sounds similar to a giant drum. Others resemble the notes of an organ or the hum of a distant airplane. Scientists have measured these sounds traveling across surprisingly long distances, sometimes lasting several minutes before fading into silence. To ancient travelers, however, there was no scientific explanation. The desert appeared alive. The Gobi is not the only place where this happens. Singing dunes also exist in parts of Africa, the Middle East, Central Asia, and even North America. Yet the Gobi's unique combination of extremely dry air, strong winds, and remarkably uniform sand grains creates some of the clearest natural desert sounds ever recorded. Even modern researchers describe the experience as unforgettable. Standing alone while the ground beneath your feet begins to hum challenges everything you expect from nature. The mystery doesn't end with the sounds. Hidden beneath the Gobi's shifting sands lie the remains of forgotten civilizations. Archaeologists continue discovering ancient fortresses, abandoned watchtowers, burial sites, and long-lost settlements preserved by the desert's dry climate. Wooden structures survive for centuries. Pieces of cloth remain intact. Ancient writings still reveal stories from travelers who crossed these dangerous lands thousands of years ago. Every discovery reminds us that the Gobi once connected civilizations instead of separating them. One of the most fascinating stories belongs to the ancient city of Loulan. Long ago, the ancient kingdom of Loulan stood like a jewel in the middle of one of the world's most unforgiving landscapes. Nestled beside an oasis along the Silk Road, it became a vital crossroads where merchants, explorers, diplomats, and pilgrims from distant civilizations paused to rest before continuing their dangerous journeys. Camel caravans carrying silk from China, precious stones from Central Asia, exotic spices from India, and glassware from the Roman world all passed through its gates. For centuries, Loulan flourished as a meeting place of cultures, languages, and ideas, proving that even the harshest desert could give rise to remarkable civilizations. Then, almost as suddenly as it appeared in history, the city vanished. Its streets fell silent. Its markets disappeared. Its people abandoned the oasis, leaving behind only ruined walls slowly swallowed by advancing sand. For centuries, no one knew exactly what had happened. Modern historians believe several factors combined to bring about Loulan's downfall. Rivers that once supplied fresh water gradually changed course, leaving the oasis dry. Climate shifts transformed fertile land into barren desert, while powerful winds carried wave after wave of sand across abandoned buildings. Without water, agriculture failed. Trade routes shifted elsewhere, and one of the Silk Road's greatest cities slowly faded from memory. Yet history was never the only explanation. Local legends tell a far more mysterious story. They say the desert reclaimed the city because its people forgot to respect the fragile balance between humanity and nature. Some stories claim greedy rulers demanded more from the land than it could provide. Others speak of ancient spirits angered by human arrogance. According to generations of storytellers, the desert patiently waited until the time was right before burying the kingdom beneath endless dunes. Even today, visitors to the ruins describe an overwhelming silence unlike anywhere else on Earth. When the wind moves across the broken walls after sunset, it whistles through empty doorways and crumbling foundations, creating haunting echoes that seem almost human. According to local tradition, these are the voices of Loulan's forgotten inhabitants, forever carried across the desert by the wind. Whether these stories are legend or simply the imagination of lonely travelers, they continue inspiring archaeologists, historians, and explorers from around the world. The Gobi has always existed in the space where science and mythology meet. For thousands of years, survival in the desert depended less on strength than on knowledge. Experienced camel drivers passed their wisdom from one generation to the next, teaching lessons that could mean the difference between life and death. Never travel alone. Never ignore the direction of the wind. Never leave the caravan without permission. And never follow mysterious voices drifting across the dunes. To outsiders, these warnings sounded like superstition. To those who knew the desert, they were practical rules of survival. The Gobi has an extraordinary ability to deceive the human senses. Heat rising from the ground creates shimmering mirages that make distant mountains appear to float in midair. Endless rows of nearly identical dunes make navigation incredibly difficult. Powerful winds reshape the landscape overnight, erasing familiar landmarks and hiding well-traveled paths beneath fresh layers of sand. Sound behaves strangely here as well. The unique shape of the dunes, combined with dry air and shifting winds, allows vibrations to travel across astonishing distances. A sound created far away may appear to come from just over the next hill, while echoes bounce unpredictably between ridges, confusing even experienced travelers. What many believed were spirits calling through the darkness was often nature performing one of its most extraordinary acoustic illusions. Today, scientists continue studying these remarkable singing dunes in an effort to understand exactly how they produce such powerful sounds. Researchers have discovered that the phenomenon depends on incredibly precise conditions. The sand must be extremely dry. The grains must be nearly identical in size and shape. Even a small increase in moisture after rainfall can silence an entire dune for days or even weeks. When millions of perfectly formed grains begin sliding together, they vibrate in remarkable harmony, producing deep, resonant tones unlike anything else in nature. It is as if the desert itself has become a giant musical instrument, carefully built grain by grain over thousands of years. Standing in the Gobi today still feels like stepping into another world. The same winds continue crossing the endless plains. The same dunes rise and fall with every passing season. And when nature decides the moment is right, the whispers return.